Looks like we have a call for no heating. Apparently he thought it did work the last few days, then suddenly no heat. From his description, he's saying that he thinks it's the pilot. Realistically, he said he tried to go light the pilot but couldn't figure out how to do it. Realistically, most modern furnaces, you still come across them that have standing pilots, but typically they're normally direct ignition nowadays, where you'll have either a hot shoe igniter, just ignites the burners directly, or maybe even a sparker. You will occasionally come across some that were the smart valves are still around a little bit, where they literally had a valve that would either use a hot shoe or a sparker to ignite a pilot, then prove the pilot, then light the burners. It's a little convoluted. You don't see them too much because they're very expensive now, if you can even get them. And occasionally you will come across an actual standing pilot, but more than likely I imagine he's probably got an issue with either pressure switch not proving, induction fan, maybe even gas valve. But we'll stop by, see what's going on, and see if we can get him some heat back. Thermostat's definitely calling. Go take a look. Here we are. Don't really feel anything going on. It's not even trying. And it may just be difficult to see, but I don't see any LEDs in there. But for some reason they put the window here and the LEDs back over here covered in wires. So let's crack this guy open. So our inducer started. Don't see any errors, but our window is here, and our little LED was here, so we couldn't see it past the transformer and the wires, so I don't really know why they plan on doing it that way. So our igniter is going, so that means our pressure switch proved. I did not hear the valve click, and we did not get ignition. Fuel source seems to be on. What we'll do is take our meter, put in 24 volts. Just confirm that we actually have 24 volts going to this valve when it tries to energize. So it will do this a few times, and eventually we'll go into a lockout. So going back into proving that we are actually running. So we are getting 24 volts to the valve. So in this particular case, being that it's trying to start, but not actually getting any fuel to it, we do know we've got gas coming into the house because we have an electric water heater that's still operating. Or not electric water heater, a gas water heater, and that cock is on there, so we know we have to have fuel up here. So let's turn this guy back off, and we'll be getting them a gas valve. This particular case, they did put us a union here, so we'll disconnect it and take all this off and get to replacing it. There we go. That was almost too easy. One thing to keep in mind about gas pipes, this we did have a union, but all of these joints, this black iron is tapered, if you can imagine, so the threads kind of start narrower and enlarge as they go. So you do have to put thread sealant on it, but one thing about it is you do have to be gentle when you're tightening or loosening, and being sure not to disturb anything down the line, because essentially once you crack it, it's open. So you end up having to go down the entire line to reseal things. So it's a temptation to grab that, our drip leg, and use that to try to unscrew this. Do not do that, because then you break that connection. And in so doing, now you've got more to deal with. sometimes it's easier to break these gas valves loose while still attached to the system, just because you've got something to pull on with these screws. But they can also be a nightmare from time to time. There we go. And we don't really have enough clearance to completely take it off in here, but it is easier to break it loose sometimes while it's still mounted. Can't quite twist it with my hand yet. So we'll try to do this without injuring ourselves. There we go. And there it is. And easy enough. If you notice, there's a handy little arrow telling you which way gas flows. So we want it coming in from the source and going through our manifold here. They come with nice little plugs to keep our threads secure. You do want to use some kind of sealing agent, whether it be pipe dope, Teflon tape. And I am the world's worst about doing this, but ideally, you just need enough to get into the threads. You don't obviously want it going down into the fitting or into your gas valve. I've seen some people that are hyper neat with it. I'm not one of them, but I've also seen guys put about 14 pounds of it on there, which is a little excessive. But same thing, we'll just gently screw this guy on. And we know from the previous valve we don't have much clearance, so we want it facing more or less this direction, but that's not going to be tight enough right there. So we will have to tighten it a little. And we can continue tightening after we're on something solid, unless I can get it. So I can get it to about there. So we'll give it a little bit more once we get it in place. I don't think I showed you, but our manifold here, we have our orifices, and they basically just screw inside the manifold coming from the gas valve. Let me grab my camera. And our orifices fit inside of our in-shot burners here, and it's pretty easy. We have something to pull against and put a little pressure on it. Can get our valve facing the direction we want it. There we go. 24 volts coming from the board. So essentially once our inducer fan proves with our pressure switch, our igniter comes on, glows to the prescribed time on the board to get it hot enough to ignite. Gas valve comes on. Inlet pipe here. Alright, should be good. And as always, we want to check anything we may have disturbed. So first, our inducer fan comes on. That proves the vacuum through our little pressure switch there. And it has so many seconds to do that. Then next up, our board should decide, hey, okay, we're good to go. We should hear a little click. And our igniter should come on. It has so many seconds to glow and get warm. Our gas valve fires. As it fires across, we have our little flame sensor dipping down into the flame right there. And you wouldn't think about it, but fire is a little electroconductive. So essentially it's using that conductivity to say, hey, we actually have an ignition. So after another few seconds, it's allowing the heat exchanger to warm up. Our board decides, hey, it's time to turn on the fan. So we'll wait to make sure that fires. There's our fan operating. So we're good to go. In this particular case, we do have the door open, but I would be looking for, so it is disturbing our air through here, through our calves. So we are going to see a little bit of flickering. You will see a little bit anyway as this thing shoots dust and debris through it. But if we noticed any major deflection from that flame, or if it was turning yellow or orange in there, then we would have a sign of a possible heat exchanger problem. But looks like it was just our gas valve. So we'll put this guy back together and get on out of here to the next one. Not too bad of a little gas valve change out. As you saw, the way those furnaces work, they will first turn on the inducer on a call for heat to prove we have negative pressure essentially through the combustion chamber with our little pressure switch. If that's proved in enough time, it moves on to bringing on the igniter. The igniter goes, warms up or sparks, whichever it happens to be, for a certain amount of time before the gas valve energizes to ignite the burners. On the other side of that, we have a little steel rod sticking into this one in particular, and what you're actually looking for is a micro voltage. You don't think about flame being conductive, but it is a little conductive. So once you see that little micro voltage, the furnace says, okay, I went through my whole process, I ignited, wait for a few seconds for the heat exchanger to heat up, and then we'll turn the blower on. So provided everything went well, you don't have an overheat situation, there you go, you're running. This particular one, it did everything up to the point that our igniter glowed and our gas valve was not coming on, or not opening rather, so we never actually saw combustion. So those Goodman furnaces, I believe they'll go through 3 attempted ignitions, and then they will go into what you would call a soft lockout, in which, hey, it just says something happened, let's shut down, give it an hour, maybe 3 hours. I think it's 3 hours, I can't remember off the top of my head. And then after that time has elapsed, it will try again. If it fails the ignitions again, then it goes into a hard lockout. Normally, you theoretically see that through the little lens or window, but the LED unfortunately was blocked by the transformer on that particular one. But typically, almost bet we could have looked in and it would have been blinking the code for a hard lockout. Luckily, we were just able to reapply power and immediately see what it was doing. We knew we had to have gas because, fireplace worked, water heater worked, have fuel. And in this particular case, we did see low voltage going to that gas valve, attempting to open it, but nothing ever happened. So easy enough to ascertain that it was a bad gas valve. Main thing to watch out for, just remember any of that black iron stuff. If you can imagine the threads, when they thread it in, it kind of starts more narrow and then widens out, kind of like a cone almost. So as you get tighter, you're not really tight, just threading it in. You have to pipe dope it up and thread it in completely. So if it breaks back even a little bit, now you have a leak. So do be very careful with that. Make sure you stabilize it anytime you move it, and do take advantage of anything like that particular one had our union, and there weren't really that many. We had that whole long section we could grab hold of and make sure we didn't disturb anything else. But always just go back and check everything you could have possibly disturbed, because as I said, just barely moving it, suddenly you have a leak. But we'll move on to the next one now that we've got them going, and see if we can find something more entertaining to do on this about to be rainy day, it looks like.